Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Battling 101 Basics with Plus. Today we're going to be continuing the team preview series. Last episode we focused on choosing leads based on what types of Pokemon your opponent's running, as well as knowing your own team's weaknesses, and this episode is focusing more on predicting the sets so you can choose the correct lead, or knowing the types of Pokemon that you want to keep late game and the types of Pokemon that are more expendable in certain situations. So, in this instance, we're going to be doing a simple exercise. This is something that you should be doing in almost every game, and it's pretty much predicting what kinds of sets that your opponents are running, based on general trends that you see in the metagame, or just certain things that you notice about your opponent's team. So, this team right here that my 2T's running, Clefable, Ferrothorn, Charizard, Azumarill, Tyranitar, and Excadrill. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that the easiest thing to take from Team Preview is the entry hazard situation. And what I mean by the entry hazard situation is something running like Spikes, Stealth Rock, Defog, Rapid Spin, those types of moves. That's like one of the first things that I honestly think you should be looking at. Just the fact that he has Tyranitar and Excadrill, that's one of the most common combinations, and for a good reason. Just when your opponent's running Tyranitar and Excadrill, it's safe to predict or make a prediction that the Excadrill is going to be Sand Rush as opposed to Mold Breaker, and the Tyranitar is probably going to be some slower variant that is support based, or maybe it's a mixed Tyranitar of some sort. Obviously this could not be the case in many situations. This could be a general like Scarf Tyranitar, and this might be Mold Breaker, Scarf Excadrill. Teams are never set in stone, but just general predictions to make, and this is a pretty safe prediction to make. Tyranitar is probably going to be support. Excadrill is probably going to be like Rapid Spin and 3 attacks, Life Orb, something like that. And he's got to have Rapid Spin because he has no Defogger, and he's running a Charizard. If he's not running Rapid Spin on Excadrill, I have no idea what he's doing. So, yeah, just based on that we have the entry hazard situation down pat. Things like Ferrothorn and Clefable could also run Stealth Rocks, but just the fact that he has no Defogger leads me to believe that he's running the Spikes on the Ferrothorn, because, like, if he was running Defog on Defog on this team, then Spikes might not be as helpful as it would be. In this situation, I think Stealth Rock, Spikes, plus Rapid Spin is a very common, set of moves to have together. And so I'm just going to say this is the Spikes variant, Ferrothorn. I'm going to say this is maybe like Calm Mind Clefable with Magic Guard, just based on the fact that he has Tyranitar. I'm not much of a fan with Sandstream Tyranitar and Unaware Clefable. So I'm just going to say that's Magic Guard Clefable. It's also pretty safe to assume since he has really no status absorber. So, okay, that's probably Magic Guard Clefable. I'm not sure what that Azumarill is, but just judging by how his team fares against water types like Specs Keldeo, I think that if you rely on Ferrothorn and Clefable to bail you out in terms of like dealing with Keldeo, I think that's a very bad choice to make. So I'm just going to say that this is more... This is an Azumarill with more bulk than a Belly Drum set, so I'm just going to say, okay, probably this is Choice Band Azumarill with max health, or maybe Assault Vest Azumarill. And Charizard, which is probably his Mega. Now, deciding between X and Y is very difficult to do in very numerous situations, so I'm just going to say, based on his team, it's very solid physically with Azumarill and Excadrill. I'm just gonna say that Clefable doesn't hit very hard on the special spectrum that much, so I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that it's Charizard Y, simply because he really has no strong special attacker right off the bat, and Charizard Y is one of the best wall breakers in the game, if not the best. So that's my analysis right here, and if you wanted to do analysis on my team, we could do the same thing. Number one, we'll start off with the entry hazard situation, so I like to call it. We're gonna say that because I have Excadrill, I'm gonna say that Mew doesn't have Defog. Now, you could always run Defog plus Rapid Spin, but I'm not much of a fan of that. Neither is most people who play the OU metagame right now. So I'm just going to say that's maybe Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, Knockoff, and Soft Boiled. That's a pretty solid stall breaking set. Yeah, this team doesn't look like it fares very well against stall unless you had like Swords Dance, Excadrill. And since we don't really have Sandstream on this team, it probably is Mold Breaker, Swords Dance, or maybe Scarf, because I don't really have much priority on this team, and if your team doesn't have much priority, then a lot of times, unless you're running like full-blown stall, then they're going to have some sort of Scarfer to act as a revenge killer, because you need something to deal with the faster-paced offensive teams. So I'm just going to say, okay, this is Rapid Spin, Excadrill, and then this is Stall Breaking Mew. For the Stealth Rock situation, it could be either Diancie or Heatran. Now, I'd say for Diancie, Protect is very, very helpful for, you know, performing the Mega Evolution. So no, I'm just going to say that it's Protect and 3 attacks. I'm going to say that this Heatran here is the Stealth Rock's defensive set with Lava Plume, Protect, Stealth Rocks, and maybe Toxic or Roar. This Keldeo could be a lot of things, really. It could be Calm Mind, it could be Scarf, it could be Specs. You can't really judge based on how this team is built, but one thing you can say for sure is if this is Scarf Keldeo, then I'm going to say that's probably not Scarf Excadrill. I'm going to say it's like Air Balloon Swords Dance or something. And the same can be said true if you figure out early game if Excadrill is your Scarfer. You can make an assumption that your Keldeo is actually Specs or Calm Mind. Now, obviously, again, I'm just trying to say that these are predictions, and this isn't always the case. You know, this could very well be like 2 Scarfers. You know what? Even 3 Scarfers. All right. What if Heatran is a Scarfer? You know, some people make crazy teams just to like throw people off guard. A lot of tournament players do that. So you know, don't think that your predictions are always set in stone. You know, you always have to keep on changing your predictions based on how the battle goes. But we're just talking about team preview here, so all right, we covered Keldeo, Diancie, everyone except for Celebi. I think it's pretty safe to assume that this Celebi is some sort of baton passer. Most Celebis are these days. Giga Drain, Recover, Baton Pass, maybe Sub or Calm Mind. You know, we have a lot of really good Calm Mind recipients up in here. We got Keldeo, which is a great one. We got Heatran and Diancie, three very solid recipients of Calm Mind, as well as substitutes. You know, Celebi attracts stuff like Bisharp, it attracts Tyranitar. So, you know, if you get a sub up and then you baton pass like Diancie or Keldeo that resists Dark, it's just great. You know, it's just gravy. Alright, so we're going to do something different right now. We're going to be looking at my 2T's team and my team. Now, I'm just going to tell you straight off the bat, I got 3 setup sweepers. I got Swords Dance Gallade, Tailglow Manaphy, and Bulk Up Talonflame. And my 2T's team is like really fucking slow right now. I mean, it doesn't have any priority. It's just really, really slow. Its fastest Pokemon seems to be a Charizard, and that doesn't bode well for my 2T's team. I have a really good team matchup against him. Just the fact that I have 3 Pokemon that are faster than pretty much his entire team, save for like Charizard against like Manaphy or whatever, just leads me to believe that Clefable has to be unaware. Like, if Clefable is not unaware, then like I could just bring out Manaphy turn 1, Tailglow, and it would be good game. So let's just say for some reason or another, Clefable dies, right? Now I'm just gonna be spamming Earthquake to kill this Clefable. Obviously, this isn't gonna happen in a real match, but let's just say you have like a mental lapse or whatever, and then you let your Clefable get killed for some stupid reason or another because you didn't recognize like your opponent's win condition. Like, my win condition would be just Tailglow Manaphy sweeps after Clefable is gone, you know? So really, that's all I have to do. I mean, as long as I kill the Clefable, then it's pretty much 6-0 at this point, because seriously, I can set up on almost anything that my opponent has. Hippowdon, Skarmory, Alomomola, even Reuniclus. So I'm just going to show you right off the bat. let's just skip to the next turn. I got the Stealth Rocks up just to break the Sturdy on the Skarmory. He can scout all he wants. I actually have Lumberry on this Manaphy, but yeah, here's the thing. Once I get Tail Glow up, he really has no response to this Manaphy. And because he lost his Clefable, I mean, it's pretty much good game. So don't think of, one really important tip to consider is, like, don't think about the score so much the Pokemon that dies. Meaning that don't think that just because you're down 6-5 that the match is close, because that one Pokemon you lost might be the difference maker in a 6-0 or like a 1-0, or, you know, even losing or winning. So, you know, if he had his Clefable, it still would have been very tough because my team matches up very well against his, but it would have made the match a lot more longer and interesting than what you see right now. So yeah, that's just what I gotta say. You really gotta recognize what types of Pokemon that you need to keep alive and which ones are more expendable. I'd say in this matchup, probably he'd have to keep the Hippowdon for the Talonflame. I'd probably have to say that either Reuniclus, Alomomola, or Skarmory were the most expendable, with the Charizard X, Clefable, and Hippowdon being the most important to winning. Simply because Clefable can handle stuff like Latios, Hippowdon, opposing Calm on Clefable if that's Magic Guard, Tail Glow Manaphy, and Gallade, right? Talonflame it can't handle so well, so that's why you have Hippowdon, right? You need Hippowdon to handle the Talonflame for like Stone Edge or whatever, and then you're going to need the Charizard X just as that really bulky Pokemon with Will-O-Wisp that can whittle down the really annoying thing is it can switch in on stuff like Talonflame, maybe get off a Dragonclaw or whatever, just weaken your opponent's team. Alright, so as a final recap for this episode, for team preview, the first thing to do is to use context clues to identify what types of sets your opponents are running. You know, who's the Stealth Rocks user? We went over the entry hazard situation. Does he have any defog or rapid spin? If not, then you might want to get you might want to get up as hazards on your opponent's team really early. Identifying frameworks. You know, most teams that don't have any priority will usually have some sort of way to combat offensive teams, whether it's like Trick Room, whether it's Scarf user, any type of like way to revenge kill, like a trapper or whatever. You have to identify like what is what, okay? And this also goes back to knowing the weaknesses of your own team as well as your opponent's team. So if you notice that your opponent really doesn't have an Earthquake resist, a Ground resist or whatever, maybe just one Pokemon that's resistant to ground, then you might want to keep your Garchomp, your Excadrill, your Landorus in healthy form late game so it can perform a sweep. On the same note, just remember, based on that Clefable example that I showed you earlier, you have to know your own weaknesses as well. You know, if you are really weak to setup sweepers, then keep your Unaware Clefable very healthy, because Unaware Clefable gets whittled down by chip damage, by status very easily. So you want to make sure that, you know, if you're a team weak to setup sweepers, for example, that you got to keep your defensive Pokemon alive. What things would be the most expendable? This goes back to knowing your own weaknesses again, pretty self-explanatory. The things that are most expendable are the Pokemon that you will be losing first on an ideal, in an ideal world, whereas the things that are least expendable are the Pokemon that are vital to your win condition, and if you lose that, you probably lose the game. So again, thinking about, not thinking about the score so much than the actual Pokemon that are lost. Not thinking that you're down 6-5, thinking that you know you can come back. If that Pokemon is vital to your win condition, then it's really, really hard, and it's probably a bigger deal than if you were down, you know, 6-3, and you know, out of those 3 Pokemon that you still have, you can like maybe go 3-0 and, you know, sweep your opponent like right off the bat. And just remember that you can use this type of information when you're building teams. You know, this is a lot of tournament players, a lot of great team builders. They'll use general trends and what people predict based on team preview. They'll use that information and then they'll use that to their own advantage. They'll use that for the element of surprise. You know, thinking that your opponent is predicting that you're running a certain set, but in reality, you're actually using something else, and you're using that information to build a team that, you know, maybe might net a surprise kill or two. So you can always use this information not only during battles, but you can also use this information in team building as well. So that's all I have for today. I'll see you guys next month. Don't forget to subscribe to the Smog on YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in a bit. Thanks for waiting for this episode. I'm very busy this past summer, so I'm really sorry that this episode is pretty late, but I will try my best to, you know, upload episodes on a more timely manner next time. So, peace out.